3 days ago, he was marching with the protesters trying to bring down the government. Today, opposition leader Abhisit Vejjajiva was in court, facing a charge of murder. And that was for ordering the use of lethal force against protesters trying to bring down his government when he was Prime Minister 3.5 years ago. Back then, it was supporters of the current Prime Minister who were on the streets of Bangkok. They'd occupied parts of the city centre. And Mr Abhisit authorised the army to clear them out using automatic weapons fired directly at the protesters. He's always argued it was necessary because of armed elements among the protesters. And there were certainly some present, caught here on camera. But most of their weapons were improvised. And most of the victims of army gunfire were unarmed protesters.
We've had a month of protests here without any violence because protesters have been unarmed. The only violence that erupted at first was because the government brought in the red shirts, their supporters.
This time, though, the government confined its supporters to one stadium well away from the centre of Bangkok. And when clashes occurred here, stopped its supporters from holding any rallies. Today's anti-government movement is still holding out, unmoved by the Prime Minister's offer this week of an election. Some of them tried once again to break into her office, cutting the wire and eventually the power. But this is all symbolic. She isn't there. And for all their talk of establishing a rival administration, they're still a long way from their goal of restructuring Thailand's political system, although their actions have certainly weakened it. Jonathan Head, BBC News, Bangkok.